G'day and welcome to another episode of Tomo's Tune-Ups. On this episode, I'm going to show you how to do a basic service on your lawnmower. Now, some of you out there probably don't have a lawnmower because you live in apartments, you live in a granny flat, or you might not even have a lawn at all because you live in the desert. So this video is relevant to you. Or you might have an electric mower, or even one of those push mowers with the blades that goes along and cuts the grass. I take my hat off to you, but as I said before, this video is irrelevant to you. So let's get into servicing it. Now you're probably wondering why I'm wearing a cowboy hat in Western Sydney. Two reasons. One, it's pretty fucking hot, and two, we have a saying here in Australia, slip, slop, slap. So let's get into servicing it. All right, to do a basic service on a mower, you're not going to need a heap of tools. Pretty much we're just going to be using some Penrith small engine 10W30 engine oil, and we're just going to need a drain tin as well. Some mowers you might need a spanner or a socket to release the sump plug that is in there, but in this model it's quite easy. All we're going to be doing is tipping it on the side, draining the oil out through the filler neck, and then refilling it through the filler neck as well. So always keep in mind that when you're tipping your mower on the side, you want to change the blades, you want to clean underneath it. Always tip it on the side where the oil cap is, because it has a sealing O-ring between the oil cap and the filler neck. If you turn it on the side where the fill point is for the fuel or the gasoline, if you're in America or another country other than Australia, it will tip out and it will spill and it will kill your grass. So always tip it on the side where the oil filler cap is. So what we're going to do is put the mower on the landing strip right here. There's a bit of a gap, about 4 or 5 inches. So it's enough that when we tip it on the side, it's going to be able to tip out properly, and we're not going to have to elevate the mower or stand there on 3 legs and shake our left foot and scream yee-haw when we're trying to drain it. So we're just going to stick the mower up here. We're going to stick it on its side just up here. We're going to grab our drain tin. This is a 20-litre drain tin I got from Super Cheap Auto. They are really good. They're really hardened plastic. It's got a really great fill point, and they catch a lot of stuff. So if you're doing any sort of work on your car and there's a Super Cheap Auto around you, go grab yourself one of these. They're only a couple of bucks, and this thing will get you out of mischief and catch pretty much all the oils and coolants that is in your car. All right, so first thing we're going to do is just grab ourselves a rag. We're going to take the dipstick out. We're just going to give it a wipe just to make sure there's no oil residue hanging around. Stick that off to the side, and then shimmy the mower back over, and then we're just going to lean it directly on its side just to drain out the engine oil. Now this mower in particular doesn't take a lot of oil. I think maybe 300 or 400 mils depending on what model it is, but generally most mowers you try and change the oil every season. Like my cars, I try and do a service twice a year, and same when I do a polish or a wax on them, I try and do it twice a year. So if you can change it every season, perfect. If not, then at least try and change it twice a year. So at the moment it's New Year's Eve, so by the time you see this video it's going to be obviously into the new year, but I try and do it generally around New Year's, sort of Christmas time, and then do it again at around mid-year. I will do another video on how to change the fuel filter, the air filter, and the spark plug, but this is just a real basic service. Now that's pretty much slowed right down to a dribble, so we can sit that straight back up. Just going to give it a wipe just to make sure that we don't spill any. Now you can see the color of the old oil. It is a bit metallic, so there's probably something going on inside there. Hopefully you can see. This does blow a fair amount of smoke, so it's probably going to need a new set of pistons and rings. So that'll be probably something else we'll do down the track. A really good way to tell the internals, like I've said before, is to have a look at the engine oil. If it is quite metallic here, there's chunks in there, it's discolored depending how your mower is set up, whether it has coolant running through it, whether it is just naturally aspirated. If you've got a turboed mower for whatever reason, you might live on a farm in Texas and you want to cut laps like Tim the Toolman Taylor on that episode. However it runs, always a really good indication as to how your internals are running is the color of the engine oil. All right, so we just move that off to the side. Make sure you dispose of that thoughtfully and you dispose of it in the correct manner. Don't just tip it down the drain like some clowns would. Grab a dipstick and we're just going to wipe it once again. Now, as I said, this mower doesn't take a great deal of oil. This bottle is a 1 litre bottle, so we're probably going to tip in maybe 200 or 300 mils. If you're ever unsure how much oil your car takes, your diff, your mower, your bike, whatever it may be, The best option that I can give you is either consult the owner's manual, do some Googling online. If you're still not sure, have a look to see how much oil comes out of it and kind of guesstimate it from there. If you have an old jug to pour it into that and get a bit of a rough idea. If you're still unsure, pour in a couple hundred mils at a time and then check it. Now, a mower holds significantly less than what a car does, so you probably only need a couple hundred mils. You don't want to pour the entire bottle in. Depending on the size of the engine as well, it might only be a 50cc. So the best thing I can recommend is just pour a couple hundred mils at a time and just keep checking it with a dipstick. Once it's then started, recheck it again. Once the level's reset, because all the oil is going to move around inside the engine, and then just adjust it accordingly. Cool thing about this one is it has a little pop top, so we're just going to open that up. And that's going to lift directly up through here and then unscrew, and that's going to prevent us spilling it. So we're starting off at 1 litre. We'll pour it in to about 200 mils and then we're going to see how we're looking from there. Okay, so just nice and easy. Check the level. Yeah, so we're sitting at about 300 mils that I've just poured in. So we just grab our dipstick, put it in, turn it, lock it, undo it. Always wipe it the first time you pull it out. Same with a car as well, even a motorbike if it has a dipstick. And then we're just going to recheck it. All right, so now the reason why I turn it around is because on one side of the dipstick you'll always have a higher level reading compared to the other side. You always want to look at the lower side of oil. So the higher side is sitting up at about here, whereas if I flip it around, it is sitting approximately here. So we're pretty much right on the full mark. So as I said, it's not going to take a great deal of oil. So let's start it up and then check the oil. Alright, so it didn't blow that much smoke upon startup. It might be over time that the valve stem seals are leaking and it's starting to get oil inside there. Generally I find it'll leak and smoke quite a lot when it is on a cold startup. Because I have been running this and I've been doing the lawns, it's quite warm at the moment. So once again, pull the dipstick out, give it a nice clean wipe, put it back in, twist it, take it back out, and let's just double check. Yeah, fantastic. So that is pretty much on the minimum line at the moment. So there is a crosshaired section and then it has the full line as well. So we're just going to be topping that up. So I'd probably say it'll probably take about 350 to 400 mils of oil. So we're just going to top that back up and then just recheck it. Now remember, it is easier to add oil than it is to take it out. So if you're ever really unsure, just keep adding little bits at a time and just keep adding it slowly. Otherwise, you'll go to pour it in one day, you'll overfill it, and then you got to drain it, then you got to spill it, then you're just going to have to start again and you're going to waste a lot of oil. So once again, dip it, wipe it, check it, flip it back over. Okay, so we're about halfway up the section in which we need to add some more. So once again, it does have a low and a high point. We're about halfway through at the moment. So we've added approximately 350 mils of oil. So I'm going to say it's probably going to take 400 mils. So just add a little bit more. Yep, fantastic. That is on the full mark. And we have used exactly 400 mils. So we know how much this mower takes. This is just an old Viking 50 horsepower, 50cc, whatever it is, mower. It is very basic. As I said before, I will show you another video on how to change the air filter, the spark plug, and the fuel filter, but that's for another episode. Look guys, that's how you service a mower. It is very basic. Make sure that you try and change the oil when it's hot because of the viscosity of the oil. So the viscosity is the thickness or the weight of the oil. It is technically described as the rate at which it is poured through a fixed orifice. So 10 is the weight when it is hot, 30 is the weight when it's cold, so the thickness of the oil. That's how you service your basic mower. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. And please guys, if you can hit the subscribe button below as well as a like, it not only helps my analytics, but it also helps to boost my channel. We'll see you again on another episode of Tomo's Tune Ups.